Senate Republican health care bill is a wolf in sheep's clothing.
The law they've defended for 7 years teeters, literally teeters on the edge of total collapse.
So sad, Mr. President. Heartless, mean, and heartless.
This system is in a tailspin. The system's collapsing.
How do you like healthcare?
It's going to be very good.
Have enough heart, Mr. President?
A little negotiation, but it's going to be very good.
Maybe a lot of negotiation. Welcome, everybody. I'm Neil Cavino. You're watching Your World on a Day. We had at least 4 Republican senators say to this rework in the Senate on health care, not acceptable to us. One of them, of course, is Kentucky Senator Rand Paul, who'll be joining me shortly. Suffice it to say, the devil is in the details. They don't like the details. So where are we going from here? To Capitol Hill senior producer Chad Pergram, who is grilling these guys with questions network simultaneously. It was a remarkable moment. Not the health care rework. Chad. All right, Chad, what happened here?
Well, what you have here, you have 4 Republican senators, Ted Cruz of Texas, Rand Paul of Kentucky, Ron Johnson of Wisconsin, and also Mike Lee of Utah, who say they're no. What we're dealing with here are congressional physics. They want to get to 50 votes to be able to pass this bill and have Vice President Mike Pence break the tie with 51. If you only have 52 Senate Republicans, you're in trouble. Now, what's going on with these other 4? Well, Rand Paul said just a little bit ago he doesn't want to kill the bill. He wants to maybe apply leverage, try to make this bill better. And that's what I asked Senator Ted Cruz about just a few minutes ago. Do you think that by saying no, that they will come to you and say, maybe we can help you on this issue, maybe help you on this issue, and maybe get you to yes?
You know, I have been clear from day one that I want to get to yes. When I ran for Senate, I campaigned on repealing Obamacare. It was the central promise of the campaign. In my time in the Senate, nobody has fought harder against Obamacare than I have. This matters. We've got to do it, but we've also got to get it right.
And so at the end of the day, what you're looking at here are senators trying to get a seat at the table. If you come out publicly and say you're a no, maybe you can do some horse trading with Mitch McConnell, try to change some things in the bill, make it better, and optically appear to your constituents that you fought for something and you did, in fact, change that bill.
Chad, you know, one of the things that was interesting I was watching is a lot of the healthcare insurance-related stocks that had jumped smartly when we got word that this draft was going to be released, and indeed it was released, reversed those gains mightily by day's end on the belief that maybe this thing could fall apart. Who's right?
Well, when you start to get the devil in the details, that's the problem. I talked to one senator, a senior Republican, earlier this afternoon, who said, I think we will have a vote next week. Will there be 50 votes next week? They weren't sure. So that's the decision that Mitch McConnell, the majority leader, is going to have to make. He has indicated that he wants to advance this bill next week. He wants to clear the decks in July to maybe deal with fiscal issues like the debt ceiling or appropriations or a budget or something like that, because that's going to eat them alive come September if they haven't done the appropriations bills and dealt with the debt ceiling. So if they can clear the decks on health care next week, that's a good thing for Mitch McConnell. The question is, do they have the votes? Remember all the machinations that Republicans in the House of Representatives went through from late March until early May before they finally lugged a bill across the finish line. And at the end of the day, what happened there, Neil, is that some Republicans just got worn down and they said, okay, we said for years and years we want to repeal and replace Obamacare, and we're going to do it. That might be what gets it across the finish line in the Senate.
All right. Thank you very much, Chad. Good day and good reporting today. Chad Pergram. All right. To Kentucky Republican Senator Rand Paul, who kind of echoed those concerns here that we are keeping Obamacare. We are not repealing it. He joins us out of Washington. Senator, explain.
Well, you know, when we look at the bill, we thought we had promised to repeal Obamacare. That's what I've been saying for 6 years. But when we look at the bill, we actually find that with the Obamacare subsidies, not only are we keeping them, we may actually be providing more subsidies than Obamacare has. Our early estimates on the bill are that the bill may spend more in the next year or two than Obamacare does. And so it's hard for us to get our mind around that this is a repeal bill if we're spending more, keeping all the subsidies, and then we're going to start a brand new federal entitlement program where we give insurance companies money. And for the life of me, insurance companies, I'm all for people making money in capitalism. They make $15 billion a year. I don't understand why the taxpayer would need to subsidize insurance companies, and I'm just not for that.
You know, a lot of people look at insurance companies and wonder if they're happy about it, their investors are happy about it. Maybe that should be a concern. But I do notice, and as the day wore on, Senator, that those insurance companies that were running up when this draft first came out started running back after word came that you and Senator Ted Cruz and Mike Lee and Ron Johnson were among those not keen on it. So if you had to weigh the odds now as they stand, Senator Mitch McConnell wants a vote before the July 4th recess. Is that doable?
It could still happen if the people who wrote the bill are willing to negotiate. Conservatives want a repeal bill. I want a bill that looks like, feels like, and is a repeal bill. My fear is when I look at this, I keep reading it, and it's like, it sounds like Obamacare to me. It doesn't even sound like Obamacare Light. In some areas, it may be Obamacare Plus on the subsidy side. We can't have a bill that spends more than Obamacare in the first couple of years and call that a repeal bill. So, yes, we should be for repeal, but we also have to have sufficient confidence in capitalism, competition, and free markets. And I don't think we do. I think we're replacing it with about, here's a little Obamacare, here's another little Obamacare, but we don't really believe that the market will work, because what we're doing is the death spiral that we've talked about so much, we're just dumping a bunch of federal money into the individual market and saying prices will be lower. But you could do that for new cars. Why don't we propose a new car stabilization fund, or a college stabilization fund, or an iPhone stabilization fund? Those would not be Republican ideas, and they would be laughed out of Congress. The same should happen for a stabilization fund where we dump taxpayer dollars into insurance companies' coffers that are already making $15 billion a year.
To your point, Senator, that technically this is not really a repeal of Obamacare. It raised an issue as to whether Republicans, to win over Democratic votes, should have just said that up front, and that this was a replacement and a fix, or so they deemed it. I know you disagree, but they could have won over more Democratic votes. Having said that, I want you to react to something Chuck Schumer said today after this. He kind of threw this open with an offer for Republicans. This is Chuck Schumer earlier today.
Let us forget this draft bill. Let us right now, Democrats and Republicans, sit down and try to come up with a bipartisan bill. We're willing to do it today, now, this minute. Will you accept that offer?
What do you say, Senator?
Disingenuous at best. We tried to nibble at the edge when the Democrats were in charge, just changing like the requirement from 30 hours of work to 40 hours for requiring and mandating insurance. We couldn't even nibble at the edges with them. They're not for repealing any regulations. They're not for repealing any Obamacare taxes. So no, they don't want to work on this. I think that's rhetoric and not really serious.
All right, where do we go now? If, let's say, there's not much of agreement or progress made in the next week, then obviously this goes into August, right?
Well, what I would
if
hope
you even
is,
meet in August.
My hope is that the four of us who have announced our opposition will be invited to sit down with the people who wrote the bill, leadership, and say, what will it take to get you guys behind the bill? If they're willing to do that, and they're honestly willing to make this look more like a repeal bill, not just look, but actually be more of a repeal bill, I think we've got a chance. But all we have seen is the House bill, they kept plussing up with more money. So they sprinkled money on top of the House bill to encourage more people to be on it. But allowing Medicaid expansion to go on and on and on and on and on, and then repealing the taxes that actually paid for it, doesn't make any economic sense. So everybody wants to get rid of the taxes, but they're wanting to let the expenditures go on, which there's no way that that ends up being or making any sense with regard to the debt or not adding new debt.
Senator, I'm just wondering, everyone loves the goodies, the coverage for pre-existing conditions, maybe depending on how you feel about your kid or kids, keeping them on your insurance policy a little longer. They don't like having to pay for it. A lot of the taxes that went along with Obamacare, most are not part of this, but as you say, there is this $50 billion upfront money that I don't know the source of that, but there is another way to put some money for it. But should Republicans go back to their original position, which was this is not the government's job, period?
That's my position. And the other thing is the main problem, the fatal flaw of Obamacare, the death spiral, is created by telling people you can buy insurance after you're sick and then by adding regulations to insurance to make it too expensive that young, healthy people don't want to buy it. So if you make it expensive and then tell people, hey, if it's too expensive, just wait to buy it till after you're sick, that's the death spiral of Obamacare. The Republican plan doesn't fix that. It subsidizes the death spiral of Obamacare. It dumps a bunch of federal money, taxpayer money, or borrowed money into the insurance industry and says, hey, please lower the prices if we give you money. That is not capitalism. That's not what made this a country great. And it really is not consistent with any notion of a limited government, conservative Republican position.
But it does seem to be closer to President Trump's position. Do you risk enticing his wrath here?
I don't think this is President Trump's bill. I talked to him earlier in the week. He wants something done like so many of us want done, but he and I ran on a similar proposition, and that was repealing Obamacare. So I think he wants it repealed, and I think my preference, and I can't speak for the president, but that replacement would involve allowing more of the marketplace to work, legalizing competition, expanding health savings accounts.
Right.
Now, the bill does one good thing. It does allow the co-ops I've been talking about across state lines and expansion of co-ops. That I'm for, and that's the real answer. Instead of plowing federal money in, let's have sufficient confidence that people could buy their insurance through an association.
The reason why I mention all of this is there's great impatience and a feeling of rush that Republicans need a legislative win for the president and the president for Congress. And this was the means by which you got to health care reform. This was the means by which you got to those tax cuts and the big reform there. If you are at loggerheads on this thing, do you or would you recommend putting it aside, proceed to the tax cuts, or is it too late now, too far along?
I think we will get to the tax cuts. I'm all for them. I want a tax cut bill in the fall, not just sort of a tax shifting bill or a revenue neutral bill. I want a tax cut. But I think we'll find more agreement on that. Do I want to skip health care? No, because if we skip it, we're probably never coming back to it. There's $1 trillion of taxes we can cut out of Obamacare. Let's just be wise and not just cut taxes and keep the spending. If we're going to cut taxes, let's also cut the spending.
All right, so you want to get this done before you address that. I noticed you said about the tax cuts that they shouldn't necessarily be revenue neutral and all of that. There are others who are arguing that in the scheme of things they should be. You feel that would be limiting. Could you explain that?
Well, if you really want to grow the economy, you have to leave more money in the economy. If it's revenue neutral, that means half of the people in the country will get a tax increase and half will get a tax reduction.
But if it's revenue neutral, it can go by this budget reconciliation measure. It's a simple majority of votes, right?
Yeah, you can still pass it by simple majority, but it's only good for 10 years.
Right.
The Bush tax cuts were good for 10 years, and guess what? Even some Democrats were hesitant to take them away at the end, so we lost a little bit of them, but I think 98, 99% of the Bush tax cuts were kept. I would say if we can get the corporate rate down to 15 for 10 years, if we see an economic boom, voters will reward those who created the economic boom.
So you'd be okay with that? You'd rather something
Absolutely.
rather than nothing on that, right?
We need a real tax cut. When Reagan did a real tax cut, rates went from 70 to 50, 50 to 28. That was a huge tax cut, and we got huge growth, I think, for many decades based on the Reagan tax cuts.
All right, real quickly then, Senator,